Look closely and you'll see that the front suspension isn't a conventional telescopic fork. This new patented front link suspension has a lot of advantages over conventional forks. As you might imagine, it provides an improved ride. But the advantages aren't limited to just better handling. The design also contributes to more comfortable ergonomics, fuel-saving aerodynamics, and pleasant cockpit airflow. First, it allows the axle to move more vertically as the suspension compresses, not up and back like a conventional telescopic fork does. Because the axle moves more vertically, the engine, rider, and passenger positions could be moved closer to the front axle for more centralized mass and more responsive handling. And because the rider and passenger are now sitting closer to the fairing, turbulence within the cockpit is reduced for less wind noise and helmet buffeting. In terms of handling, there are huge benefits to this new suspension system. For one, it keeps chassis geometry more consistent, and secondly, it reduces brake dive. These two contributions add up to a more consistent steering response than with the telescopic fork. Also, with a conventional telescopic fork, there is friction between the inner and outer tubes that compromises ride quality. The multi-link design minimizes that friction for silky, smooth action and reduces the shock transmitted from the road surface to the handlebars by 30% compared to a telescopic fork for a significantly smoother ride. Because this fork is much lighter than a conventional telescopic fork, steering effort is dramatically reduced for less rider fatigue and easier handling overall. This system is also much narrower than a conventional fork, so the fairing could be designed even narrower as well for improved aerodynamics, increased fuel efficiency, and less resistance when leaning into a corner. Let's talk about the cockpit for a minute. With the engine moved forward in the frame and the new suspension's more vertical trajectory when the wheel moves up and down, the rider and passenger sit much closer to the front end. And even though the fairing and windscreen have a narrower and lower profile, the rider and passenger experience less turbulence because they're sitting closer to the windscreen. For even more comfort in cold weather or for highway cruising, the electric windshield can be adjusted with the push of a button, which changes height and angle for optimum aerodynamics and minimal turbulence. And as a bonus, it features last position memory. When the ignition is turned off, the windshield returns to the bottom position. Then, when the rider starts the motorcycle and begins traveling faster than 3 miles per hour, the shield automatically adjusts back to the position it was at before the bike was turned off. There are also several Honda accessories to further enhance the weather protection of the fairing, including a larger windscreen, variable deflectors that enhance protection around the arms and the upper body, and a fixed deflector for extending wind protection around the lower body and feet. The airflow through the cockpit has been fine-tuned to enhance the riding experience too. If you ride, you know there's always a battle between enjoying the elements and protecting yourself from the excessive cold, rain, and heat. Not only does the new fairing protect the rider and passenger from cold and rain, it also flows more air through new ducting that keeps a pleasant breeze going in warm weather to increase comfort for rider and passenger. If your customers are looking for even more fresh air, they can utilize the windscreen ventilation louver on the dash that pops up to increase airflow through the fairing. Another big advantage of the cockpit is the roomy seating that gives the rider and passenger plenty of space. The handlebars are flatter than before and a little lower, creating an ideal rider triangle for maximum comfort. And because engineers were able to narrow the underseat fuel tank and the frame, the front portion of the rider's seat could be reshaped to make it easier to reach the ground. With new material and a flatter profile for 2018, the seat is much easier to move around on, while still keeping the straight-line freeway comfort of previous years. Among the many available accessories is an optional backrest for the rider, and for Goldwing models without a trunk, a passenger backrest is also available. The first thing many people will notice about the Goldwing and Tour model bodywork is the richness of the color. That's because Honda used new nanotechnology paint and clear coat that places the paint particles much closer together for a deep, rich finish. This tech is so new, it's the first time it has ever been used on a motorcycle, and it gives the finish extreme depth and shine. It almost glows. In addition to the new front suspension, many other factors contribute to the bike's narrowness and improved aerodynamics. For example, the new side-mounted radiators are smaller and thinner, high-efficiency designs. Powerful LED headlights assist too. Not only do they give these machines an ultra-modern lighting signature, they also take up less space than conventional lights, which allowed engineers to narrow the front portion of the fairing. These multiple lens LED front lights include 5 carefully polished optical low beam lenses on the right and left sides, creating sparkling expressions of light. To give the high beam a distinctive characteristic, its reflector is positioned farther inside, which contributes to an almost three-dimensional look. In back, the LED tail light surrounds the area below the brake light and the rear turn signal, creating a wing-like design and high visibility on the road. The front turn signals are neatly integrated into the rear view mirrors and use 3 LED lights each for maximum visibility. The rear LED turn signals are built into the tail light and brake light structure for a clean look. For owners wanting to add more lighting, there are accessory LED lights for fog lamps, an additional brake light that integrates into the upper portion of the Tour model trunk, and lights for inside the luggage that automatically come on when the lids are opened. The very same trunk that comes on the Tour model is also available as a color-matched accessory for the Goldwing. Between the trunk and saddlebags, there are 110 liters of storage space, plenty of luggage capacity for a long weekend on the road. Also available as accessories are a luggage rack that attaches to the top of the trunk for more carrying capacity, and inner luggage bags that make packing and unpacking at destinations much more convenient. Another great feature for this year, the trunk and saddlebags can be locked and unlocked remotely with the all-new Smart Key. Plus, each lid includes a hydraulic damper for smooth operation. All 2018 Goldwings have a new lightweight hollow spoke wheel design featuring a tire pressure monitoring system, or TPMS. This system verifies each tire's air pressure and displays the status on the left side of the dash every time the bike is started. The Goldwing models provide a TPMS status indicator, while the Goldwing Tour models take TPMS a step further and provide the exact air pressure per tire, so there's no need to crawl around on hands and knees to check tire pressures. TPMS lets owners know if their tires are underinflated before every ride, a nice convenience and safety feature. All Goldwing and Tour models come with the same combined anti-lock braking system, or CABS. On all models, changing the ride modes also changes braking characteristics to provide the optimum braking performance for each mode. Additionally, the front brakes are radially mounted for maximum performance and feel, and feature 6-piston calipers that deliver all that performance with minimal lever effort. All the 2018 Goldwing and Goldwing Tour models share a new next-generation aluminum frame and fresh bodywork. Thanks in part to the new, more compact, horizontally opposed 6-cylinder engine, the chassis is significantly smaller than on previous Goldwings in every dimension: lower, lighter, much narrower, and much easier to handle in the city or on the mountain highway. The fuel tank is still located under the seat for a low center of gravity and agile handling, but it's been redesigned as well, like every single component of the Goldwing and Goldwing Tour, to contribute to the overall narrowness and agility of the new bikes. Let's move toward the back and have a look at more changes for 2018. As mentioned earlier, the aluminum frame is all new, lighter, stronger, and more compact. Die-cast aluminum sections are used throughout the frame, and they vary in thickness for tuned flex or additional stiffness as needed for optimal handling. Back here is where we see a good example of this. The single-sided pro-arm swing arm on the right side has been completely redesigned. As before, the swing arm houses the maintenance-free shaft drive, and the open side simplifies wheel removal. The new frame features a whole new and patent-pending swing arm pivot structure that increases stiffness and reduces weight for more responsive handling and a smoother ride. And the ProLink single rear shock is now mounted in special spherical bushings that prevent binding in the shock mounts, making the ride even smoother. The rear suspension on the Goldwing and Goldwing Tour models features adjustable preload to dial the bike in for various loads and conditions. But the Goldwing Tour models have an added touch of luxury in the form of selectable electronic spring preload adjustment settings. There are 4 suspension modes to match varying loads and conditions, and they're displayed on the dash using graphic symbols for rider, rider with loaded bags, rider and passenger with loaded bags. You can also think of the 4 modes as graduating suspension stiffness from soft to firm. For example, solo riders might choose one of the stiffer settings to firm up the suspension on their favorite twisty road. Goldwing models do not have electronically adjustable rear preload, but a simple and convenient preload adjuster allows manual adjustment to fit different riding needs. In back, you can also see another indicator of the elevated performance offered on these 2018 machines, a specially designed 255 16-inch rear tire that wraps around the new aluminum wheel design we spoke of earlier. With a bigger footprint, this new rear tire helps put